Good morning, everybody. Marco Lavagno speaking. I'm going to present you the first detector webinar. So let's start with an overview of our team. We are 15 people now. Some of them are missing here because we hired people just a few months ago. So basically, as many of you already know, the main activity of Detector, that was founded back in 2009, is producing and design medical devices. We produce medical devices as online beam monitoring systems and QA devices for particle therapy. In the last month, we also started to develop electrometers for conventional radiotherapy. By the way, you can check all of our activities and works in our website, detector-group.com. The webinar today is about our QA devices for particle therapy. Mainly, it will be focused mainly on its software platform called HiQ. I will start with an overview of our devices, talking about the hardware and their functionalities. So these are the 6 devices in our catalog for particle therapy. In the upper part, you see devices that can be used with both protons and carbon ions. They are characterized with both the particles. We have the CubeNext, NextQ, and Q360. Then in the lower part, we have 3 devices that are dedicated for ocular proton beam lines. So let's go deeper in details, starting with the CubeNext. CubeNext is a stack of ionization chamber, integral ionization chambers that can give you the information on depth dose curves. One of its main peculiarity is that it's customizable, so you can have it from 32 to 160 channel to cover a range up to 375 millimeter in depth dose, so you can measure both pristine and spread out bright peak. Its total sensitive area is about 13 by 13 centimeters square, and the pitch, so the resolution in depth dose, is about 2.4 millimeter in water. Since it's customizable, you can put also an additional module in the front made of strip ionization chambers X and Y to check also information on position and dimension of the beam. So with just one beam shot, with this configuration, you can have information on 2D and also energy of the beam. Another peculiarity is this frame, where you can put PMMA absorber or different thickness, and so you can increase the resolution of 2.4 millimeter in water. That was characterized with both protons and carbon ions. Here's some measurements took in Paris at the CPO of both spread out and pristine bright peak, where the pristine bright peak was represented with in comparison with the Wilder Phantom. Before, I mentioned the strip modules as modules for the cube, and here we have a standalone detector made of strips and 2 integral chambers called NextQ. It is very light, so its weight is 8 kilos. The strip pitch is 1 millimeter, so you can achieve in calculation on center of gravity, a resolution in the center of gravity better than 0.1 millimeters. You have also integral ionization chambers to have information on intensity of the beam. As all of our detectors is all in one piece, so you have everything inside, sensors, front-end electronics, and the controller. These are measurements we took in Trento facility. So here also with protons, but it was also characterized with carbon ions. Here is a repeatability in the calculation of the center of gravity, so 20 identical spots of the same energy and intensity, and the maximum variation in the calculation of the center of gravity is better than 0.1%, 0.1 millimeter, as I mentioned before. Well, now Q360 is has the same technology of an HiQ, but is bigger. So we are talking about a bigger area of 41 by 41 centimeters squared with a pitch of 1.6 millimeter. Its aim is to measure information of the beam in a wider range, so in all the scanning pencil beam field. It's also dedicated to gantry nozzle, because we can provide mechanical adaptation to the gantry nozzle and link it directly to the nozzle to make measurement at different angles and different, of course, checking different characteristics of the beam. Okay, let's move to the ocular proton beam line. Since last year, we started to develop and work on this particular field, starting with a QI. QI is a successful technology transfer from Helmut Center in Berlin. They produced a prototype of it, and then we industrialize it and make it a medical product. And it's a multi-layer Faraday cap made of 512 channels to cover a range up to 70 millimeters. That's basically the range to be covered for the ocular, in the ocular proton treatments. Its native resolution is very high, so it's 120 microns to detect pristine and spread out break peaks with a very, very high resolution. Also here you have all the hardware inside this ball, and some measurements took with the prototype at Helmut Center in Berlin. So as you can see, there are all the peaks from the Faraday caps that are in this case copper and spaced with Kapton foils, and so you have all the information from the intensity detected by the multi-layer Faraday cap, or you can also, of course, reconstruct the spread out break peak. Then we have accuracy, the second ocular beamline QA device from detector. In this curvy shape, you have a scintillator, a mirror, and a camera. So basically, it's a scintillator-based detector with a total sensitivity area of 5 centimeter diameter. Its native resolution for 2D measurements of the beam is better than 10 microns. This detector will be also described in the software analysis by my colleague afterwards, talking about HiQ software platform. So you can have output of full wave and maximum, lateral penumbras, flatness, asymmetry with a very high resolution. Also here, we are talking about a very successful technology transfer from the Institutes of Nuclear Physics in Catania. We had also some measurements there and in the INFN research facility in Trento at different energies, and we compared the scintillator-based detector with a silicon diode and with the GAF chromic films. Then last one is also the last ocular proton device, and it's called Q+. So basically it's a ionization chamber divided in dots to form a crux in X and Y, so 63 X dots and 63 Y dots, spaced at 0.6 millimeters to measure the profile of the passive beam in ocular beam lines very, very fast with a very light detector, because we are talking about less than 5 kilos all the detector. So it's easy to use, it's easy to put at the ISO center to see profiles and measure penumbrals, flatnesses, asymmetry of an ocular proton beam. Okay, these are an overview of our catalog. So talking about data acquisition and software, there are 2 levels for that. The first one is the raw data measurement. So it's very simple. You have to connect directly an Ethernet cable from the device to your laptop without installing any additional software. You have all the software inside the device. So it's a web-based software where you can, of course, control the measurement, changing the data frequency, or even using an external trigger. And then you can save your data in the device and then export it to the lab. But Today we are here mostly to talk about the next level that's called HiQ, and it's a real, proper, innovative QA software platform. So my colleague Mattia Fontana will go deeper in details and give you also explanation and examples of HiQ. In the meantime, so hi Mattia.
Hello, hi. Good morning to everyone.
Yeah, in the meantime, if you have a question for the part regarding the hardware, so regarding the device, you can start writing the questions in the proper tab in GoToMeeting app or in the web page. And Mattia, you could start with your part. See you later.
Good morning again. I'm Mattia Fontana, a software developer, and I'm here to explore with you all the functionalities and features of our last software creation, that is HiQ, already well introduced by my colleague Marco. So, okay, we are here in the presentation. So let me give you some details of the structure of this software that is conceived and designed to provide the user to full access to all our devices from one place, so from one terminal PC, and allow the user to move from the data acquisition itself or from the control of the device itself up to the data analysis, data storage, and data visualization, of course, and up to the end for the production of a report for your analysis for QA procedures. So this is the structure of the platform. We have all the platform is based on a main server where the application is installed and configured at the moment of installation. All the configuration can be customized to the user needs. The backend server is composed of the main server functionalities, which includes all the analysis platform and the database. So you also have the organizational features of a relational database. This server can be one of the server already present in the center where the software is installed, or can be provided by Detector, as well as the local network that is needed to connect this server to the users and to the devices in the different treatment room or experimental room where they are used. So we have this local network. The users are registered to the server with different access levels that give them access to different features and different functionalities of the software. And then they connect to the platform directly with the server machine, so using the main server machine or with their own personal devices, laptops or tablets. And as for the point-to-point direct connection to the devices, you don't need to install anything on your device. You just need a compatible browser. You type the URL in the URL bar, the IP address or the name, depends on the configuration of the server, and you have access to the control of the detector that are connected, to the analysis platform, to the production of reports, and everything is provided with the platform. But propose you to make things in practice, and so we can move to the actual simulation of the software and the demo. So I present you all the features. Let's say we are typing now from our terminal device, we are connected to the network, and we type the IP address for the name of the server in our URL bar, and we are in. So we end up with this landing page. You have a single command here that is the login. As I mentioned before, different users can have these different access levels. So you have your credential. My credential are already registered, so I can connect to the server, log in, and this is the main page where you have all the detectors registered to the server, available for the use. So as you can see here, I'm registered as administrator, so I have full power, let's say, on the server, and so I can also handle the users from this page. So I can see all the registered users. I can modify their features. I can see the feature registered. I can delete users if I need to delete the users. And I can add, of course, new user. Same structure, exactly the same structure for the registration of the devices. You have the list of the 6 devices you've already seen in the main page. You can have a look to the characteristics and modify them. You can see here. And we can maybe, as an example, add a new device. So you can enter the name. Let's say we'll add a CubeNext. So maybe you can call it CubeNext webinar. And then which kind of detector it is. It's CubeNext, we say. Then if you remember from the description of Marco, it's a multi-layer ionization chamber. So you can choose and customize the number of channels. So depending on the configuration of your detector, you have to describe your detector here. So let's say we have no 32 channels. It depends if you have included or not the strip module. Let's say we have included the strip module. Then, of course, you type your IP address. So the IP address registered in the control unit of the device is used from the server to connect to the device. Let's say this one. And then you can also add a description of your device to recognize, for example, if you have 2 different CubeNext in your center, then you can describe the CubeNext to recognize which detector you are using. So let's say creative for webinar. That's all. Add. Okay. The IP address, of course, I forgot the dot here. It's not valid. Okay. Okay. So you see, we had 6 detectors before. We have 7 now, and this is our new created detector. And it's also visualized here, added to the list of available detectors. So we are back to the main page. Here, what you see is a card for every single detector you have registered to the server, with some features, so the name, the descriptions. You see here the IP address, and then, of course, this indicator is used to show you if the detector is available now. So if it's switched on and connected to the local network. Now, green means it is available. Red, it's not available, so you cannot access the detector. Because for every detector, you have actually 2 access levers. I say the first one is actually entering the detector and control the machine itself. And of course, the detector needs to be connected to the network. The second lever is what you can perform directly from the server with the data you moved from the detector to the server. And so you can perform the analysis, you can see the logbook, and we'll see everything in a minute. We can maybe start from accuracy. Marco described the detector to you. It's composed of a scintillator, a camera. So we can maybe have a look to the acquisition of accuracy. So you click on the detector and you have the main page of the detector. We are now inside the detector, so we are using the internal memory of the detector. As you can see, the user interface that is similar for all the detector is composed of a navigation bar where you can move if you have the different tabs, and we'll see it later for a different detector. We have this main section with the visualization part of the data, and we have a sidebar where we can control the device status. For example, here we have a camera, so the camera status, the control unit status, that is the internal control device for the detector, and then the memory usage status. So you can see here the memory available on the detector. Then you can control and set your parameters for the acquisition. Here, for example, we have the sampling mode, continuous or triggered, the exposure of the camera in milliseconds, the total acquisition time. And of course, once we are happy with our configuration, we can start the acquisition. Okay, the acquisition is ongoing. Will be that's it. We will be notified when the acquisition is over. We have actually 2 levels of acquisition. The first one, that is the one we just launched, stores the data, so acquires the data and creates a file to store the raw data. So at the end of the acquisition, you can decide if to discard the data you just acquired or to save the data. When you save the data, you have the possibility to add a notes file, let's say test notes, a note file that will be used in the logbook section to then retrieve your measurements here. The second level of acquisition is the data stream. So maybe you don't want to fill the memory of the detector, and so and want to perform a quick acquisition just to see, maybe to check your setup or to make some experimental tests. And so you can start a data stream and see the data on the visualization part, but then these data are not saved to memory. As I mentioned, we have also a logbook section when you have all the data stored in the internal memory of the detector. You can play a bit with the data, download single files on your local machine, or download the selected files where you are really downloading all the RAM. So with the data file and the notes file I mentioned before, you can modify maybe your notes here. That it was already modified, and so modify it again to test notes, and that's okay. Or you are connected to the server, you are connecting to the detector from the server, so of course you can decide if you want to move or copy this data to the server and make them available for the analysis. That can be performed offline. And with offline, I mean without the detector connected. So we move the files, we are sure, okay? The files have been moved, and so we can switch to the analysis section, again for accuracy. As you can see here, the graphical user interface is quite similar. You have your navigation bar with a couple of tabs, the analysis and the logbook section, the visualization part with some useful graphical tools to play with your data, and your sidebar to control what you're doing on your data. So we just follow as an example the typical workflow with the analysis for this kind of detector. Let's say we load a file stored, this time in the memory of the server. So we transfer the data, or we copy the data to the server memory, we can analyze them. So here you see the profile of the beam we just acquired, and so we can select our region of interest here with the graphical tools. We can adjust the ROI as we desire with these vertical and horizontal sliders. The monodimensional plots here are updated accordingly, as you can see here. Now we are at the level of projection. When we are happy with our ROI, we can switch the profile selection on for both axes. You see that now we move to profile plot, not a projection. We can move and drag this selector to modify the position where we want to perform the analysis. So we will analyze these profiles and then configure our analysis. And this is also common for the other detectors. We have buttons to decide which parameters to enable. We will provide a set of standard parameters, verified parameters with verified algorithms. But then we will also introduce in the software an integrated development environment to develop, so that the user can develop its own algorithms and add analysis parameters. So as you can see here, we just have the analytical calculation, some interesting parameter for this kind of analysis. So let's switch everything on for the x-axis. Of course, you can also save your set and then load your set to speed up even more your QA procedure, your analysis procedure. Let's confirm and switch on the analysis of the X profile. Same thing for Y. Let's activate everything to see a complete result. Then you have additional options. You can decide to subtract this baseline from the profiles. You see the one-dimensional plot is updated. And then, as I said at the beginning, you can, at the end of your analysis, you can decide to produce a report, a PDF report of your analysis. So we switch on the report and you can customize your report with some notes, or let's say we add test notes accuracy, and we confirm. Your notes appears here. You can also add an image. You can maybe add this detector wallpaper as an image. This feature is generally used and designed to allow the user to put maybe an image of your setup, a picture of your setup during the acquisition you use during the acquisition of the data. Then everything is ready, so let's go analyze. We wait for the analysis that is processed in the backend to be completed. We are notified, and you have the results here at the bottom of the page. So all the information you need, or your parameters with your results, and some interesting levers on your plot that are used, the 20%, the 50%, and 80% that are used to calculate these analysis results. And you can see at the end of the analysis, you end up with two new buttons on your sidebar. The first one is used to export these results to the database, and I will explain you later what this means. And of course, you have your PDF produced, so you can visualize your PDF. This is what it looks like. Okay, have some information about the user, the detector, and the software version, the date and time. You, of course, have the results of your analysis with all your parameters here, with your plots, the two-dimensional plots, and at the end, your notes. So completely customized, your image here, your picture, everything available in the PDF report that is automatically stored in the database. So back to our software, we can maybe explore some additional features with a different detector, let's say the CubeNext here. So we are now in the detector. So we are using the internal memory of the detector again, different indicators. For this detector, we have a power supply and HV. So we can control it, the HV is on, the control unit is okay. We have also a calibration page here available for the two modules. So this CubeNext includes both the range module and the profile modules. For the ionization chambers, of course, you can apply calibration factors to your data for visualization purpose on the detector and also for analysis purpose then in the analysis platform. So configuration of your acquisition, let's maybe start. So we can see some data flowing on the plots. And of course, here you have the visualization of the combination of the range module and the X and Y module, but you also have specific pages dedicated to the range modules with additional plots. For example, the counts of the first and last channels, the differential profiles here, the differential counts of the two channels here, and same idea for the position module with integral X and Y, with the differential X and Y, and with the integral chambers provided in the profile module. So we can start. As before, we are asked if we want to save or discard the measurement. In this case, we discard the measurement. So the run has been deleted from memory and not saved. We don't have the run available. Same idea for the logbook. We can load all the measurements here that are available on the detector memory, so on the detector internal memory. So coming back and moving to the analysis part for the CubeNext. You see here, you have again the calibration page because you can decide to move your calibration files to the server and so work on your calibration files to the server on the server and use them as a tool for your analysis. So let's simulate an analysis also for CubeNext. We load the data for X and Y. You see here the profiles required. Same data required for the Range profile, in this case, the detector was irradiated from the backside, so we can play a bit with the data and reverse our vector to have a correct view of what happened during our measurement. And then we configure our analysis as before with accuracy. Of course, we have different parameters because they are adapted to the specific analysis we have to perform on the detector, for mean, for width. We have also different choices for the algorithms or provided by us. So we switch everything on. We enable the analysis, same thing for Y. And let's confirm. And again, for Z, with different parameters, of course, we are analyzing a depth profile. So the peak position with different kind of fits provided. We switch everything on. We add some notes as before for our report. Let's say test notes again. A picture, maybe again the wallpaper here of the detector, and we switch on the creation of our report. So we started the analysis, and the analysis is completed. We are notified. We have the results here, the fits on the plot, the results of our analysis, the parameters for the 3 profiles analyzed. We can visualize our report as before, and we will go a bit deeper into this button. You have all these parameters analyzed, so you have the results. You can decide to export this result to the database and make them available to the logbook functionality we developed in the database. So let's say we want to export the data. Of course, you can tag your data. We'll see in a minute why you need to tag the data. Is these tags that will be used to filter what you stored in the database and then apply filters to the query for the database for the data and results visualization. So you have some tags already available here. Let's say it was a single spot maximum energy, let's say, but you can also add your own tags. Best tag for this webinar, for this test. We confirm, and okay, our results have been exported to the database, from the server to the database, and now you can move actually to the logbook page. That is this one. You are of course now on the server. You can check the server status with the memory available on the server. You have some stats about the entries related to this detector in the database. So all the data you exported to the databases with this detector. You have, of course, all the raw files data exported and all the functionalities you also had before. With the edit notes, you can delete data from the server. You can download to the local machine your run for both X, Y, and Z module, the range module. You have the list of all the reports you produced that are stored in the server with this detector, and then the functionality to visualize the trend of your parameters in time. So you have 3 slots available here. You can visualize, for example, this is the list of parameters that were also in the configuration of your analysis. So you have everything available here. Let's say we want to see the peak position, then we select a date range. Let's say from April, 1st of April to, I don't know, the end of May. We validate, and that's it. We have the results about our peak position analyzed maybe every day in your QA procedures in the last 2 months. And you have your additional filters here that you can use. Maybe you decide to see only the data you assign the tag single spot. So you choose the single spot tag, you validate, and the data are modified accordingly. This with 3 different parameters at the same time. You know, the full width of maximum for the X profile in the last month. May, we validate, and we have our data here. So we are at the end of this demo. I presented you all the features included in in our software platform HiQ, that, as you saw, can combine the flexibility of web technologies, because you don't need to install anything on your laptop. The only installation need is the one on the server, the all application installation. Then you just type an IP address and you are connected if you are registered as a user, and you have access to all the calculation power of the server or the scientific calculation technologies we provided for your analysis. Everything, as you saw, is integrated in a user-friendly interface, and we are sure this will make your QA procedures fast, accurate, and easy. Thank you very much for your attention. I think my colleague Marco is coming back. Hi, Marco.
Here I am. Thanks a lot, Mattia, for the nice presentation. Again, if you have questions, you can start writing them in the question tab. Then in the meantime, I would like to remind you that our website, so detector-group.com. And
so I probably will miss camera.
Yeah,
okay, Marco is back.
We are also on social networks like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, so you can follow us also there. This webinar will be also offline, will be available offline, so we will send you the link for that. And of course, in the end, we really hope to see you again soon in physical events or even virtual events, of course, since this 2020. Probably all the events will be also only web events, but we're really looking forward to seeing in physical events soon. So thanks a lot for your participation. Let's start with the questions. So we have a lot of questions here in the tab. So start with the first one. Great proton detector. So thanks a lot for that. Any pipeline for photon therapy? Yes, basically we are developing electrometers that can work for both photons and protons. So at the moment we are developing two kind of electrometers, one for small field photon fields, and the other one will be a 4-channel electrometer with 4 independent channels. You can find this information on our website. We were to present them in the events like Estro or PTCOG, but of course we will do it soon. But in the meantime, you can write us if you have an interest in that, or even search in the website the information. Then second question, any plan to plug your HiQ software to measure manufacturers' equipment and suck the data out? That's another thing we are planning. Of course, it's this is not available now, but it will be in the 2.0 version of the HiQ. So I think that the intention is to also, there is another question regarding that. Any plans to read imaging devices and use the images as a source of data? So also here we are working on having other outputs, other inputs, sorry, besides our detectors. If you have something to add, Mattia, you can add something. Of course, you are more expert than me in the software part since you developed it.
No. Of course, it's under discussion for both questions. So both the integration of different manufacturers' detectors. Of course, they have to be web-based, so they have to be an interface inside, or we have to integrate the interface in our platform and adapt it to our platform. But it's feasible and even easier to integrate images or anyway different input sources in the platform. That doesn't need we just need to know the data format, let's say, to use these files as input.
Okay, thank you. Another one. Can you configure a preferred flow data? flow of data, so the device pushes things in background and you only engage manually when you want to do it. I think that refers to the fast QA. Am I right, Mattia?
Yeah, I think this is something we thought about. We presented this feature, the idea of this feature last year at PTCOG with like a quick QA button. With a single click, you just retrieve or start the analysis of data they had already been pushed from the detector automatically from the detector to the server. So it's something that yes, we are working on that. It can be really useful to speed up even more all the procedures and make it also easier, because you just have one button to push. Of course, you lose the customization features of the report, of the analysis. You just set up your standard analysis and your standard acquisition, and everything is defined at the beginning, let's say.
Okay, let's move to another one. Any plans to have analysis based on local medical physics society recommendations for the different parameters measured? Also, any plans to have a regulation compliant report? This last one is really important, they say. Yes, basically, Mattia mentioned the report before, so I think that we of course we have a standard report, default report. Then you can of course customize it as Mattia said, but in principle that follows the recommendations. So if Mattia, do you have something more to add? If not, I can switch to the next one.
No, about the algorithms, they are verified algorithms. They follow the standards, and so that's why I told you at the beginning that we provide a set of algorithms verified by us. Then everything you customize, and so everything you insert as a user of the HiQ must be both discussed with us, or they are verified from your side, but not from our side.
Okay, then I have general question. Euratom Directive 2013-59 requires to have a risk analysis done on all the components we use clinically. Do you have any work frame in place to make sure that your software includes a risk analysis or helps to be a mitigation of risk tool or process? Well, our software are medical devices CE mark, and soon, and we are also working on the American FDA. So soon we will have both. So I assume that we are following all the procedures to have all the compliances for that. If you have questions, dedicated question to certification or stuff like that, of course you can also send us an email. So info@detector-group.com here. Then we can of course forward it to the dedicated team that can reply you both technical things or quality things. Then is it possible to measure under the ultra high dose rate? That's a very that's a very hot topic now in the field, we know. So we are working to characterize also our detector in flash therapy, or even other high dose rates. And so of course soon we would like to have more information about it, and even design dedicated devices for that.
Maybe Marco, you missed the question 4, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay. Is there a way to handle read output analysis data with third-party software or by API?
Yeah, maybe I can answer. Both the raw data, the detector is producing text files with raw data that you can download, and so you can handle it with your own your software. you can code your scripts to analyze your data, of course. Concerning the output of the analysis, as output, you have the report and you have your parameters that you can export to the database. So the administrator of the server has access or have access if there are more than one. Have access to the database, so they can download the database structure, and then you have basically an SQL structure. You have tables with data that you can use. Yes.
Okay. What's the timeline for the new release of HiQ 2.0?
Yeah, maybe I can answer. Let's say that we are concerning the development of the new features, for example, the possibility to integrate a development environment to give you as user the possibility to code your own algorithms. We are just trying to find the best way to provide a tool that is available and easy to use also for people that are not used to code. And so I think the beginning of next year will be a good moment. We are already working on that. And so after all the verification and validation part, I will say beginning of the next year.
Okay, great. Then we have a couple of questions on the hardware. What is the sensitive area of scintillator detector? Do you have a bigger version? So I assume we are talking about accuracy. Matthias, you can
yeah,
let's go back to the slide in the meantime. Thank you, Mattia. Okay, the sensitive area of the scintillator detector is okay. It's 5 centimeter diameter, so the scintillator, and the plan is to have a bigger one, yes. At the moment, we started with that, also because we would like to begin with, we started with technology transfer with IMFN in Catania, also because it's basically, it was our first scintillator detector, so we started with a smaller one, and with, of course, the help of a research institute like the Institute of Nuclear Physics, but now we are planning to have a bigger one to cover a bigger field at the ISO center to make different measurements, also for the pencil scanned beam in proton therapy. Yes. Then we have okay, the last one I see here. What is the resolution of QI? Okay, its native resolution, it's better than 120 microns, if I'm not wrong. It's here, okay. It's very precise. Of course, we can, sorry, the camera disappeared, but I'm coming back again.
Lose you.
Yeah, but you can hear me, so I can continue to describe to answer the question. So the native resolution is 120 microns, so it's very precise. So you have a very good, a very high resolution in that, and of course the range usage in ocular proton beam lines, so it's up to 60 millimeters. Okay, then another one, will it be possible to modify or add new algorithm for the analysis?
Yeah, I think you mean in HiQ, of course. So I can answer. It will be possible in the version 2.0. As I described before, we are developing this integrated environment, development environment, to give you the possibility to code your create your algorithm and include it in the platform. At this stage, so for this release of the software, what we can do is customize the software at the beginning or after the installation, but with our intervention. So we can discuss when we install the software on the server to add some of your algorithms in the platform, or after the installation, you can call us. You can modify your backend structure, your analysis platform to add your own algorithm.
Okay. Another question, one of our customer, NCC Korea, asked us to provide more information regarding QI. So basically, here we are. This is dedicated for ocular beamline to have a very high precision measurement in depth dose curves. Of course, you can also use it with higher energy, putting PMMA plates in front of it, and so you have information on the peak area, on the peak region, and so a very detailed, a very high resolution information there. Basically, it's conceived, starting also here from a technology transfer from Helmut Center in Berlin for ocular treatments. Since they in Helmut Center they treat patients also only with only ocular patients with protons, and so basically it's conceived for that. In general, you can use it also for highest energy. You have to put PMMA in front of it. Anyway, if you have, of course, other information, so you would like to learn more about our products, we are, of course, available for private Skype calls or phone calls. So we are here. You can contact us via email at info@detector-group.com, and then of course we can set up a Skype call with you. Okay, another question: is it possible to schedule QA procedure within the software?
Okay, maybe I can answer.
Go ahead.
Not in this release, but it's something. It's related to the quick QA, the quick QA functionality that I described before. It's a good idea, and we already thought about it. We are working on it about creating this quick QA with pre-configured set of analysis parameters and pre-configured analysis to perform automatically or with the click of a single button. But as soon as we have this functionality, then we can also schedule that click, let's say. So we can make a plan and make this click for the quick QA automatic. So you can maybe think about creating different setups and different settings for your analysis, choose the one you want, and schedule the date and time when you want to perform this analysis. Of course, if you want to go from the acquisition to the analysis in one shot, you have to make sure that when you schedule the analysis, your detector is connected. So maybe you need an operator, or you need some level automatization also outside the analysis platform, the HiQ.
Okay. I don't see any other questions now. So, Mattia, if you can just come back to the contact slides. Okay, here we are. Of course, you can, as I said many times, you can write us also via email. I remember that the link of all the webinar will be available to have offline. You can see it offline. Okay. In the meantime, I have another question. Is it possible, in principle, to test the QI beyond protons, even under carbon ions, or maybe helium, for the Q4 2020 or beginning of 2021? That's a very good question. Okay, you can stay. You can. Sorry, Mattia. I ask you to.
Yeah. Go back.
Yeah, come back again to the QI. Sorry, it was not a good idea to.
QI.
Okay. Okay. In principle, it's something that we like to test. So also I said that the ocular proton devices are meant for proton. And basically, we would like to also test them for other kind of particles. That would be very interesting. So who wrote us this question can contact us, and if he has the possibility to make some tests in his facility or somewhere, I think it would be very good to start a collaboration and test the device also with other kind of particles. So it's something we always discuss to increase the possibility to use in different facilities, and so also with different particles our devices. Yeah. Okay.
We're still available for questions.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for new questions. Of course, even if we see them later on, we will reply to you, of course, offline. In the meantime, of course, I would like to thanks a lot, all of you, for your attention, for your questions. There was all very good questions, and then of course we said before, we really look forward to seeing you in events or just talking to you if it's not possible about our products, about new implementations. Of course, Detector started as an R&D company, is still some way an R&D company, so we are really interested in new collaborations and new applications for our devices, and also new ideas as you had the opportunity to look at our technology transfer. So we are, of course, really open to research and development. I'm just checking if there are other. Okay. So I think that we are about to close the webinar. So thank you so much. It was our first webinar, but we would like to repeat this experience when we will have other devices or other activities to present to you. So since it's 2020, we'll be probably more focused on web and virtual fairs and events. So it's an opportunity also to learn more and give more information about our team and our activities. Of course, we really hope you are all safe. So we wish you a very safe weekend now, and I think that I'm just checking if there are other questions.
I cannot see any new question. No, I also thank you all from my side for the attention. We are always open to feedback, so contact us when you want. You will have our contacts. You will find all our content on the website. You can write us an email, and we are here to answer, to discuss, and we hope to meet you in person as soon as possible in the next years.
Yeah, thanks to all of you. Stay safe, and bye-bye.
Bye.